Hi there, this is Alvin, and welcome to the Kickstart Commerce podcast, where we share search marketing and domain name investing strategies to help grow your business. In today's episode, I'll discuss the 9 domain predictions for 2020. So before I dive into the details of the predictions, I want to take this moment to wish everyone a happy new year in 2020. I hope that your 2019, I hope it was a year that was filled with many blessings. And moving forward, I hope each of you realizes new levels of profitable domain investing as well as profitable domain development in 2020. So with that, let's go ahead and let's dive into the 9 predictions for 2020 as I see it. So it's the first day of the new year, and by this time next month, NamesCon will have been held, and the NamesCon, the annual NamesCon live auction, I believe that this year will likely net $3 million in terms of sales. For 2019, they did just over, I believe it was 2.2 million in sales, and that was led by OL.com, which was at $900,000, domainnames.com, which was $370K, and then leads.com at $435,000. And roughly probably about another 130 remaining sales that made up that difference there to get to the 2.2 million in 2019. So I believe that with a new venue here, that NamesCon will be held in Austin, Texas, I believe that's going to draw some folks that it wouldn't have drawn before, especially knowing that Austin is a very tech-centric hub and has definitely grown over the past couple of years, rather the last decade. And so going into this decade, I don't see it being any different. Matter of fact, I see it being way more. I see more exponential growth happening in this next decade than in previous decades. So that being said, I truly believe that $3 million mark could very well be hit here at NamesCon for the live auction. So that's prediction number 1. Prediction number 2, it's based around the new GTLDs, and so I believe that there will be 2 new GTLD domain sales of 400,000 or more. Now, with that, I want to put this as a caveat, because I know when most people hear that, they're just thinking of a domain sale. And so my belief is that there could be 2 sales, and I don't think that it will be domain only. What I'm thinking is that since it's been 7-8 years since the launch, that has been more than enough adequate time for folks to have purchased a given domain, actually build out a business around it, whether it be online or even offline. I'm more specifically targeting more of an online business, that I believe that there could be 2 sales that likely include a website or content of 400K or more. Now, in 2019, I believe it was Chad Wright. He sold free.games for roughly, I believe it was almost $350,000. Actually, I think it was, to be exact, I think it was, let's see here, $335,000. And so that was the only sale that hit 6 figures for the new GTLDs. Now, obviously, there is much talk around that they're losing steam, and to a certain extent, I believe that they are. Do I believe that new GTLDs are investor friendly? No. Now, do I believe that names like free.games? Yes, those are what in my opinion, I believe that those are more premium domains. And so once you get into things like, if you said something like austinhome.cleaning services, that domain is not a premium domain. And so, it would have to be something like home.cleaning. Or business.cleaning that I believe could fetch that $400,000 or more, based on whether or not it's just the domain by itself or if it's an actual developed domain. But I believe that we're likely going to see 2 sales of 400K or more occur for the new GTLDs in 2020. So that's prediction number 2. Prediction number 3. Now here's where I'm probably going to catch a little bit of flack, but I believe that .io and .co reported dollar volume of sales will decrease by 30% in 2020. That's right, decrease, not increase, but decrease. Now, obviously, at the moment, here in January 2020, .io sales are hot, but I believe that there will be a cooling off period, as well as the same for .co. Could be wrong, but the current total dollar volume for both in 2019 per name bio was 1.9 million, and so I certainly, believe that's going to, fall definitely below that 1.5 million mark, just to say the least. And so it's not that, that they won't remain white hot, but they're definitely going to back off from what we've seen occur in 2019. So that is prediction number 3, that .io and .co reported dollar volume sales decreased by 30%. So next up on the list, I want to get back to these and get more specific on the .com domain sales. And so number 4, the fourth prediction here is that 2 8-figure .com domain sales of 15 million or more will be reported by DN Journal's year-to-date sales for 2020. So obviously we had the one reported sale of voice.com at $30 million. So I believe that heading into 2020, there's a lot of just excitement and buzz based upon that sale happening in 2019, that there could very well be 2 8-figure sales of 15 million or more. And so we'll just kind of have to sit and wait and see, but I do believe that that is a possibility. And so moving on to prediction number 5, which is I believe that there will be 5 7-figure .com sales reported by DN Journal's year to date for 2020. And so last year there were 5 reported sales. Obviously, if you include voice at 30 million, there was also California.com, which sold it for 3 million, and then EKO.com for 1.5 million, TM.com for 1.25 million, and then RX.com for 1 million. So I believe that we could actually have the same thing occur, that there will be 5 7-figure .com sales. And one thing to note about 2019, I believe there were 2 other sales. I believe it was like nursing .com that went for like 950,000, and it was another .com that I'm not recalling at the very moment. But that being said, I mean, ultimately it would have gotten to, you would have had basically 7 7-figure domain sales reported in 2019. But for 2020, I'm going to stick right there at 5 7-figure .com sales reported by DN Journal. And so that's prediction number 5. Prediction number 6 is that increased domain recurring installments and domain rentals and leasing will happen. So I'm basing this on a tidbit that I saw about Dan and how they were comparing their 2018 to 2019, I guess different KPIs or different key performance indicators. And one of those was that 14% of their revenue was derived from recurring installments and domain rentals and leasing. So that was 14% for 2019. My belief is that could actually reach 20% at a minimum for 2020. I believe that as time progresses, that more people are going to opt for recurrent installments and domain rental and leasing plans more than they will just outright cash purchases. Obviously, it'll be an outright cash purchase, but it'll be over time. And so with that being said, I believe that Dan.com will reach 20% of revenue derived from recurring installments and domain rentals and leasing. And so that is prediction number 6. So prediction number 7, and don't hold your breath on this, but GoDaddy will release weekly sales data. So obviously GoDaddy is like the 800-pound gorilla in the domain space, especially in terms of like the aftermarket. Obviously there are Cedo, Namejet, Snap Names, and Uniregistry that are currently doing either weekly sales or something like a top 20 sales where they're revealing what's being sold on their platforms. It would be great to see and have that data from GoDaddy. Obviously, GoDaddy has a wide reaching network in terms of Afternic as well as Namecheap, and as well as a couple others. But that being said, they own a good percentage of the market, and so to have them release weekly sales data would serve not only the market well, but even domain investors as well as end buyers. But mostly it'll serve the domain investors in terms of helping them get a clear picture of what's hot, what's not, what could be, and the like. So just having that data in our fingertips would be great. So that's prediction number 7, that GoDaddy releases weekly sales data. So staying in the vein of GoDaddy here, for prediction number 8, I'm going with that GoDaddy will launch a domain portfolio liquidation or expiring domain affiliate program for domain owners. And so that was something that I definitely had a conversation with Paul Nix while out at Rick Schwartz's his first annual Asheville Domainer meetup. And so, like I said, don't hold your breath on it, but that's something that I'm hoping that GoDaddy will be able to deliver. I think it would be quite beneficial to domain investors. One, because it would allow, folks that have, now obviously, I mean, if you registered a bad domain, you just registered a bad domain. But often is the case, as we head into 2020, there could be a shift in terms of of the economy. I mean, we could see a recession. Who knows? Don't know. But if there were a domain portfolio liquidation in place, then I believe that as domain owners were forced to allow for to liquidate their domain portfolio, whether because they can't afford it any longer or whatever, they want to retire from it and don't necessarily want to go through the hassle, they could basically allow it to expire and then receive a certain percentage from that. Now, I believe Fabulous may have offered a service like this, or does still offer a service like this, that was launched, I want to believe, sometime around in maybe 2011, but I believe that it's still in place. I don't have any domains at Fabulous, but that was one that I know that kind of came to mind in terms of a domain portfolio liquidation service. Now, I will say that there is another that has been launched and is live as of this recording, which is nameliquidate.com by Epic, and it basically allows domain investors or owners to liquidate their entire domain portfolio for 9% commission. And so if you're looking to get out, or if you just know that, hey, I'm only going to invest in this domain for a year, and at the end of that year, if I don't sell it, I'm going to allow it to not be renewed, and enter into an expired auction or some sort of aftermarket. Why not make at least a little money back in terms of losing everything that you've invested on, whether that be multiple years or that single year? And so that is number 8, that GoDaddy will launch a domain portfolio liquidation or expiring domain affiliate program for domain owners. And last but not least, is one that I think as this new decade progresses, it's something that should have been of great importance in general, but as the market matures, this last prediction, I believe, is that there will be a product, a service, a company that will focus on domain name protection in insurance, or an insurance-like product. And so looking at this, I know that at one point in time, Domain Guardians was in existence, which I believe if you were to go there today, domainguardians.com, there is not a I don't think that there's a website there. I think it's guarded by WordFence right now, so something or another has gone awry. But I do believe that that was a site that was run by Adam Strong, Ginsell, and I want to say Mike Robertson from Fabulous. I could be incorrect there, but I believe that they had tried something like this years back, and then as of late in 2019, I believe that there was a joint venture by Rob Monster and Bill Hartzer, aiming to assess the risk scoring for domain names, to be able to, provide, like I said, that domain name protection and insurance product. For me, I look at this last prediction, and like I said, it kind of goes back to seeing that the market is maturing and understanding that we have investors that are aging. Now, let's just go ahead and put this out here for what it is. The reality is that any of us can die of an untimely death for any reason. It just doesn't matter. Age is not a respecter. And so that's one of those things of just going, death is death. It will happen whether you're young, whether you're in between, whether you're old, what have you. But as the market matures, I believe that there is this opportunity for next generation wealth protection services. And so when I think about myself, I have a portfolio of 2,000 domain names. Now, obviously, you start thinking about passwords, and then you get into, well, domain registrars. And I believe that domain registrars should provide a service that goes beyond just adding additional people as account managers. But I look at it and I go, if there should be a service that is designed that says, hey, I'm going to check a box for a given domain, and if this domain is not renewed, within a 2-week period after its renewal date, and so whether that be because of canceled credit card payment or whatever, if it is checked that, hey, I want, and let's just say we call it a death notice or some sort of notification sent out, to a list of people or to another organization to oversee, then I believe personally that should be something offered by domain registrars. Now, again, like I said, I know the argument there is, hey, you can add people on as account managers, but in the case of, if you're thinking about, what if my wife and I are on the plane and the plane goes down and we die? Well, who else is left? Obviously, we have kids, but you start thinking about, you want to have at least 4 to 5 people of good standing and good character to oversee your digital estate. And that could include social media accounts and so forth. So I look at that and just really begin to think about, there are certain domains in my portfolio that I call quick flip. And these are quick flip domains that I'm just going to quick flip those. I have names that are classified as or categorized as development names. And then there are domains that I don't care if you came to me and said, hey, I'll give you $1 million for it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to pass those on to my kids, and hopefully they pass them on to their grandkids. And so when I start thinking about the next generation wealth protection services and what that estate planning looks like, that market, in my opinion, is wide open for domain names. And so it's interesting, like I said, to have known that domainguardians.com once existed, as well as this dnprotect.com, which from their website, which looks or appears to be a splash page at the time of this recording, it looks like it's going to be something comparable. It's hard to kind of tell because there's not really much substance or anything else there. And like I said, it was launched in, I want to say at the end of summer of 2019 or midsummer 2019. And so it'll be interesting just to see how it progresses. But nevertheless, there is an opportunity for a domain registrar or some entity to come in and really focus on that domain name protection insurance or next generation wealth protection and estate planning. So with that, those are the 9 predictions. And so just to recap those real quick, number 1, NamesCon. And we'll have a live auction that nets $3 million for NamesCon 2020. That is number 1. Number 2, 2 new GTLD domain sales of 400,000 or more will occur. Number 3, .io and .co reported dollar volume of sales decreases by 30%. Number 4 is 2 8figure.com domain sales of 15 million or more reported by DN Journals year to date for 2020. Number 5 is 5 7figure.com domain sales reported by DN Journals year to date for 2020. Number 6 is increased domain recurring installments and domain rentals / leasing, and specifically that Dan will reach 20% of its revenue derived from recurring installments and domain rentals and leasing. And then number 7 is that GoDaddy releases weekly sales data. Number 8 is GoDaddy launches a domain portfolio liquidation or expiring domain affiliate program for domain owners. And last but not least, that a domain registrar or another third-party entity will focus on domain name protection in an insurance-like product, as well as next-generation wealth protection services for domain portfolios. And so with that, we're out of time. And as we close out this annual episode, I want to take this moment to thank each of you for listening to each and every episode that has been produced thus far. And so in addition, thank you for your feedback, your topic suggestions and ideas, and words of kindness, encouragement, and thanks. Those emails, those direct messages go a long way. And so thank you for tuning in to Kickstart Commerce, where we share search marketing and domain name strategies to help grow your business. Please subscribe to this podcast via iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or Podbean. Please take a moment to also rate this podcast in iTunes, as well as share this podcast with friends and families and colleagues on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. Last but not least, please visit kickstartcommerce.com to subscribe to the weekly newsletter, sharing tips and tricks about the disciplines of digital strategy. Thanks, Happy New Year, and let's make 2020 and this next decade one to remember. That's all for now.